Got it? Remember those 4 points. One. Hang on. One. So got it?
「 Northern Virginia's little city. Here is the stage for a truly remarkable natural occurrence. Every year, a great migration is made by one of the world's most mysterious species. To reach this utopian destination, these unique mammals will instinctively embark on a nomadic journey from all corners of the DMV. This is the FCCP Ecetops Employeesaurus, or as it's more commonly known, Team FCCPS. 2.5 months of hibernation has taken its toll, and the fluorescent lighting is harsh as these beach-dwelling creatures must greet a new school year. For some, this momentous migration is their first. While for a select few, the pilgrimage is a time-honored tradition. Originating in the remote neighborhoods of the Washington, D.C. area, Team FCCPS evolved at an unprecedented speed. To understand how, we must observe them here in their sacred temple. And so it begins. As Team FCCPS congregates at the event, access to the herd is easy to come by. To distinguish themselves, Team FCCPS identify each other through decorative tribal symbols. The event culminates in what is known as the convocation. As the doors open, a behavioral anomaly can be found. Team FCCPS running at full speed, battling to secure a coveted front row seat. Following the ceremony, the classroom assignments are unleashed. It's nature at its finest. Team FCCPS can hardly contain their excitement. The creative bonds formed during the Great Migration will enable these geniuses to unlock our future world. Team FCCPS is no doubt a species that scientists will continue to study for millennia.
Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year! I am so glad that you are here today, and welcome back from your great migration as beach-dwelling creatures that you are. We are very happy to have you back. It's great to be here today and to welcome everyone back. It's going to be a really great year. I just know it, and I'm really excited. I can feel it in my bones. There's something special to me always about the first day back to school that I think only educators understand. For the past few weeks, I've been saying how much I look forward to being back to school rather than just preparing to come back to school. It feels so energizing to me to be able to come back together, just walking through the cafeteria and feeling your energy and feeling your excitement. We have a lot of people to greet and introduce this morning and also to congratulate today. So I'm going to get right to it. First, a word from our sponsors, or to our sponsors, the school-affiliated organizations. Their sponsorship covered our really delicious breakfast today, and it was prepared by our talented food services group. And I want to just thank them. SAO leaders are here today, and as I introduce the leaders of these organizations, I hope that they'll stand up and give you a wave. They are sitting right here in the front section this morning. So our sponsors first are the Education Foundation, Executive Director Debbie Hiscott, and President Cecily. We're pleased to welcome the Falls Church Elementary PTA President, Catherine Sechrist. From George Mason High School's PTA President, Elizabeth Mead. George Mason High School's athletic boosters. All of our boosters that are here today, would you please stand? Past President Tom over there. Thank you for being here. Our Mary Ellen Henderson Middle School PTA President, Suzanne Gladke. Thank you for Our Falls Church Band Boosters, President Maria Marcus. And I hope you've noticed our growing stage set here, thanks to the owners of the shop. I'm going to say this again. Botanologica, there we go, who set this all up for us. Thank you very much. You know, you think you have the words. You've been over them a few times. And anyway, we are so lucky here in FCCPS to have such a great dedicated group of people from our school community who have helped us, and we are so appreciative. Today's Twitter hashtag is hashtag Team FCCPS, and these organizations and key members of our team are part of our Team FCCPS, and we thank you. So speaking of Twitter, please do use that hashtag Team FCCPS. We have it live streaming and live tweeting over here, and I know some of you have been doing that. It's a great way for us to share news that's happening in our schools and in our classrooms, and we have some of the most talented Twitter users right here in FCCPS. If you aren't on Twitter, I recommend joining. It's a really great platform for us to get information out. I do want to spend a couple of minutes just welcoming and introducing some of the key leaders here in hashtag Team FCCPS. We've got principals, assistant principals, coordinators, specialists to thank for their leadership. The whole community expects a lot from us in Falls Church City Public Schools, and we are always pleased to deliver. So first, the George Mason High School team, Matt Hills, principal of George Mason. Assistant principals Kevin Clark and Dave Sorensis. Director of Counseling, hop along Ilana Reyes. Our new Dean of Students, Miss Sia Knight. And not with us today, Julie Braven, our Director of Student Activities. Next is our Mary Ellen Henderson team, Valerie Hardy, who's starting her second year as principal at Henderson. Henderson is in the house. I can hear him. Assistant principal, Rory Dippold. And our new Dean of Students, Mr. Adam White. Thank you, guys. And the Thomas Jefferson team, Paul Swanson in his third year at Thomas Jefferson as principal. Assistant principal, Amanda Davis and Rob Carey. And beginning with Mount Daniel, our rookie of the year, Mr. Tim Kasich, who is the new principal at Mount Daniel. Let me just take a second to say that Tim has stepped into the final phases of the school construction both gracefully and carefully and thoughtfully, I might add. And I know that he's looking forward to being in his own office and getting everyone to their classrooms for the rest of this week. So Tim, thank you very much for the last few months. We also want to welcome Jeremy Ferrara, who is the assistant principal at Mount Daniel and also helping with Jesse Thackeray Preschool. And speaking of Jesse Thackeray Preschool, we welcome Rachel Hamburger, leading the team. We have been fortunate this year to hire some system-wide employees that are going to help us with our instructional programming and operations. And everyone is going to have an opportunity to get to know these people very well and very closely. And we're really thrilled that they are joining us this year here in the City of Falls Church Schools. First, the four people who are key leaders in the academic and operational work who will be doing a lot this year as a division-wide team who are not new to us. Assistant Superintendent for Chief Academic Officer, Miss Lisa High. Assistant Superintendent and Chief Operating Officer, Kristen Michael. And our new Director of Special Education and Student Services, Rebecca Sharp. And our Director of Teaching and Learning, Jeannie Seabridge. We have 3 new coordinators who will be working system-wide to help us with our most vulnerable students, those students that need the most support, that are living on the margins. And the first is Seamus O'Connor, who is in the Special Ed Instructional Coordinator position. Welcome, Seamus. Seamus comes to us from Alexandria City Public Schools, where he was an assistant principal prior to coming to us, and we're very pleased to welcome you. Jen Santiago, who is our new LEAP coordinator. Jen comes to us from Fairfax County Public Schools, where she served as a coordinator in their ESOL program, and we're very pleased to have you as well. Also, Julie Macrina is new. Julie is our new MTSS coordinator. Welcome, Julie. Julie also comes from Fairfax County Public Schools, where she served as an assistant principal. And for those of you that don't know, we did a swap, and Summer Manos has taken a position in Fairfax County Public Schools, so we stole Julie from them and are very pleased to have you. And last, and certainly but not least, Jen Fessenden, who will continue as our pre-K-12 math specialist here in the City of Falls Church Schools. This team is going to do amazing work. We also have 2 new IB coordinators that are going to help us continue to integrate the pre-K-12 IB programs in our schools. And we are, as you know, the only division in the state of Virginia that offers IB for all of our students. And first, we'd like to welcome Carrie Cheka, who is our new PYP coordinator. And we'd also like to welcome Alicia Miller, who is our new MYP coordinator. And they are joining our veteran diploma program coordinator, Mr. Dan Coates. Thank you all for your incredible leadership. All right, so every summer our custodial and maintenance staff members are refreshing our buildings, and you'll notice some upgrades in some of our buildings and some updates. There is a new office seating area, a color palette at Henderson, in the Henderson office, and we want to thank them for that. The floors in every building are spotless and shine to perfection. You might even see your own reflection in those as you walk the halls. On the playground out at TJ, we have a state-of-the-art playground which opened in August, and Mount Daniels will open in September, and we are very excited about that. Some people thought that it would be fun to share this video with you this morning of the opening of TJ's playground, so we'll let that roll. Wait for me! I highly recommend the spider web. I just want if you have a chance to get out there, the spider web is awesome. But that was the very first day we opened it at Thomas Jefferson, and the kids were so excited. It was so funny to watch them standing at the door, literally trying to push their way out, because they'd been watching it go up, right? So they have these snow fences there, and they would put their arms on the snow fence and they would watch, and there'd be like these 2 guys out there screwing things together, and then they were blowing in some mulch, and finally the snow fences came down, and that was the result. So please get out there if you get a chance. However, that is not our biggest construction project this summer, as you might know. This summer's big construction project has been Mount Daniel, and we are really close to being finished. The relentless rain this summer, in case you didn't notice, in case you were at the beach or somewhere fun, we had 13 inches of rain in the span of 3 weeks, which sort of set us back at Mount Daniel a little bit with some of the outside dirt work. And of course, only at Mount Daniel, last week, we were struck by lightning. Literally, we were struck by lightning. and it zapped out fire pull stations. But that put a little bit of a dent in our schedule, but we are persisting. We are working hard, and we see the path to opening as strong persistence. And so we are in really great shape right now to finish the project this fall. We know that many teachers are really working hard, even Sunday and yesterday, to get into their classrooms for Meet the Teacher this week, and we really appreciate your extra work and your hard effort that you've put in this tight time frame. The new entrance is ready, and the doors are ready to open at Mount Daniel when we begin school next week. The 1950s building, which is the old portion, and the 2006 edition have new paint. They have new carpet. We've redone all the bathrooms, so they're ADA accessible now. And then the new section, we look like we're going to open probably the 1st of October. So over the summer, more than 100 workers were on the site every day to get that building ready. And this past weekend, our facilities team, our custodial team, and our technology team put in 2 days over the weekend to get the building really ready for us to be able to move in on Sunday. So if you're in the room and work this weekend, would you please stand up so that we can thank you for your efforts? Thank you so much. Eduardo and your team, just amazing, phenomenal work. We really appreciate you. And the last building-related event over the summer you might have heard about is the selection of the design build firm that's going to build the new George Mason High School. Yes, woo! The team is Gilbane Construction, and they are working with 2 architects, Stantec Architects and Quinn Evans, and they were selected as the finalists to work with us. And recently they presented this beautiful building that's really going to fit, I think, perfectly in the space between Henderson and the sports stadium. We expect to be sitting in a brand new auditorium for convocation in September of 2021. And I'm excited about that. Yes, that's right. We're not sure it's going to have a fly system or not, but it's going to be awesome. The construction team has been meeting with the staff this month and will be meeting with the middle and high school staff later this week to get input, and we really appreciate all of the input we've received so far. And I know there are people in this room who have children who will attend the new school and who have a personal interest in this building, and everyone is invited to the upcoming community meetings that we're having to provide your input as well. So if you have some interest and want to know when those are coming up, please be sure to look on the fccps.org website for community meeting dates. Last week, we welcomed an incredibly wonderful, fabulous group of teachers who are brand new to the City of Falls Church, and they are ready to join our team and get to know you, our veteran staff here, and our students. I know that you will make them feel welcome, just as you welcomed me last year. I'm very thankful for that. This week, we also welcomed many of our new support employees. All of the names of the employees are listed in the printed program, and let's give them a big Falls Church welcome. We're glad you're here. Well, many of our new employees haven't had much time to work their way through their summer read of Mindset this year. Many of them found interesting places to read it. I do hope that all of you learned something and are ready to build growth mindsets in yourself and in others, like these staff members who met for coffee this summer.
You know, Falls Church is known for many of its academic and athletic accolades, and I just feel with the new facilities and our focus on collaboration, I just think we're growing, continue to grow as a district. We have talented staff, we have motivated students, and I just see us going really far.
We've got the community and the culture to do this, right? And we've got the passion and the knowledge and the people. So if we can really kind of make it safe for us to challenge each other and to be okay with mistakes, right? And like thinking of my role as a principal modeling them, right? And being okay with that.
And I think going from there, one thing that I liked to do last year was the power of yet. And so like my students don't understand it yet. Or so that's one thing I would focus on them explaining, like, I haven't gotten this yet, or I don't understand it yet, I haven't mastered it yet. And I think as educators, that's like you were saying, that's, we need to model that for them. Like we're learning something new, or we're practicing something new, and we may not have mastered it yet, but we will, and that's what changes,
Yeah, I feel like, within the framework of like this growth mindset concept, which was pretty new to me, at least formally speaking, like I feel like as teachers you kind of have to ascribe to it a little bit, whether you're doing it intentionally or not. I think like it's just the nature of a teacher, right? Like a successful teacher is somebody that constantly grows. But I think I'm really interested in now having the entire staff and the community and the district kind of be on the same page with the same language and the same ideas and putting it to use. I was speaking with colleagues about it over the summer, and we're all kind of excited by the concept of challenging each other, challenging yourself, challenging your students, and that real recipe towards success in a concrete way, and kind of promoting that among our students philosophically.
Thanks for all of you who were in that awesome video. So I hope our next speaker, School Board Chair Lawrence Webb, has finished his summer reading, and he is here to say hello. So Mr. Webb, would you please join us on stage? Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Noonan. I'm still working a little bit to get through my summer reading. With been a fairly busy summer for myself, with some new changes going on with myself. But first, let me introduce some of my colleagues who are here to celebrate and welcome you today. I have Shannon Litton, member of the school board. Shauna Russell, another member, one of my colleagues on the school board. And Greg Anderson, as well, member of the school board. With graduation being one of the big events that I get the honor to do, but this is the second most important and fun event that I get to do as chairman of the school board, and that is welcoming back all the teachers, administrators, as well as staff to another great school year here in the city of Falls Church. And I want to welcome you all back because we are excited about the potential and opportunities that we have coming this upcoming school year. We are in full swing with two major projects. The one that, as Dr. Noonan just mentioned, the replacement of George Mason High School is in full swing and planning. And I will tell you how excited I am about that. From the point when I got involved here in the city of Falls Church, almost a little over 10 years ago, talking about this project when I was a member of city council, to actually being a part of the school board that actually got to see the passing of the referendum to actually get this project started with our partners in the city who have given us this great opportunity to finally give our students, staff, a brand new, safe educational learning facility here in the city of Falls Church. Next, we are in the final stages of completing the Mount Daniel renovation and project. Trust me when I say this particular project has been one that we've been working on for a while. The teachers over at Mount Daniel well know there's been some bumps along the way, but the light is finally at the end of the tunnel. I am so excited that you all have gotten to begin the move-in process at Mount Daniel, and that very soon, students, and the completion of that project is right around the corner. And trust me when I say, you all are going to be excited, but you can't believe how excited I will be when that project is completed and our students are in that brand new, modernized, updated facility. I want to let you all know as well, with myself and my colleagues on the school board, we are here for you. We want to support you in every step of the way as you begin this new school year. Please do not hesitate to speak with us when we're in your buildings. We want to hear your feedback. We want you to share that with Dr. Noonan so that when things come to us as a board, we're informed and ready to take that information in and do what we can to make this community, this school system, the continuous shining star here in Northern Virginia as well across the Commonwealth. I want to make sure that you know that we are here for you in everything that you do. And with that, Dr. Noonan told us back in June that he was preparing for a party of 2,750 students. So with that, let's get this party started. Thank you all very much.
Oftentimes I'm asked, what do you do during the summer? It must be nice and quiet around there. And I say it is quiet, but we're planning a 9-month party for 2,750 of our best friends. So that's what we'll be doing for the next few months. What I'd like to do tonight is
the schools are planning a party for 2,700 people. We've never had that many people before. Can you give me some tips on how to do that or help out?
The best thing you need to make sure you have is really good staff, because you're not going to get a party of 2,700 completed without that. And I think you're covered there. All the parties we throw for 2,700 include a big event. So we have our Memorial Day event and 4th of July. So
fireworks.
We could have fireworks.
Parade.
Parade. There you go.
Thanks, Dean. Rebecca, can you help me? Falls Church Schools is planning a party for 2,700 people. Can Claire and Don's help with the catering?
2,700 people? Well, we've never done that before, but I'm sure we can figure it out.
Awesome. I knew you'd help. Hi, Beth.
Hi, Mary Beth.
Falls Church City Public Schools is planning a party for 2,700 people. And I'm hoping that Target can help us with supplies.
Wow, Mary Beth, we are a small Target store, but I do have some party supplies. Let's see what we've got. Yep, that looks good.
Cheers. Oh yeah.
oh my God, what is this?
What?
What is this?
What's the matter, Peter?
What is all this for?
You said 3 weeks ago you needed to plan a party for 2,700.
I didn't literally mean a party for 2,700 students. I meant a school year of 2,700 is what we're planning for. Hey, this is kind of cool. What's this?
Good morning. I'm Mary Beth Connolly, and I'm so glad to see you at this party for 500 people today. There are a lot of people in this room. I think we're packed. I'm the Vice Mayor of Falls Church, and I bring you greetings for a wonderful school year from the City Council and the General Government. Mayor David Tarter couldn't be here today, and he sends his regards, as do my other council colleagues. But I want to introduce City Manager Wyatt Shields. He's here in the front. And the schools work very closely with the general government. This summer, I've been thinking about what makes Falls Church special, and I've come up with the top 5 great things about Falls Church. Spoiler alert, educators figure very prominently in these top 5. So number 5, it's a great place for lifelong learning. I'm here today because the best of the best in PK through 12 education are starting school. That's you. Add to that the commitment that you have as educators to learning more and improving your practice, whether through additional certifications, degrees, or professional development. Add to that the programs and the collections at Mary Riley Stiles Library and the opportunity to participate in art shows, lectures, and historic presentations. We're a community that values lifelong learning. Number 4, Falls Church is a real place with a long history. Our known history dates to 1699, and people want to come here today because we're a real town. We've got parks, churches, ice cream parlors, schools, restaurants, farmers markets, a Memorial Day parade, and a unique business community. All the plants that are here today were donated by Botanologica, and the owners came yesterday and set it all up, and they volunteered to be the All Systems Grow sponsor for the year. This fall, the Falls Church Chamber of Commerce is going to launch a Live Local campaign. And so I encourage every one of you to participate by intentionally spending your dollars in the City of Falls Church. And why does that matter? Because when you purchase tires, food, clothing, plants, party supplies, like my tiara, at local businesses, you support the businesses that support the schools. Plus, your tax pennies go right back to the city. And those pennies add up, providing a critical mass that increases the city's bottom line. So more spending in the City of Falls Church means that more dollars that can go to support our school programs. Number 3, everyone is connected. In Falls Church, the concept of 6 degrees of separation is way too big. I'm pretty sure that we're down to 2 degrees of separation throughout this whole community. So here's an example. My daughter is babysitting this week for the children of a teacher here. And that teacher is the neighbor of the person who printed our t-shirts that we're going to get later. He graduated from George Mason High School. His wife has been a dedicated volunteer leader for many years. And one of his sons, who also graduated from George Mason, works at Northside Social, where we all get together. Cecily lives on the same street. So, does anyone know the family I'm talking about? The Ermins. How many people know the Ermins in this room? All right, so we're all connected. Back to my daughter and the kids that she's babysitting. They're all FCCPS students, some in 12th grade, some in 2nd grade. And they connect each of you and are connected because they know you. My daughter, who has been in FCCPS since preschool, and she's a senior this year, she's already told the incoming 2nd graders at TJ how awesome PE is going to be with Nathan Greiner and Julie Huber. And they've already talked about art in Jan Garrett's class. So we're all connected in more ways than we can even imagine. And this makes our community much stronger. The second cool reason to be in Falls Church is because people step up. In Falls Church, there's no shortage of volunteers. Dr. Noonan already thanked the school-affiliated organizations for sponsoring this event, and the volunteer power that they bring to the schools is a force to be reckoned with. And it's not just in schools. People in Falls Church get involved in all areas of the community. Some even run for school board and city council. So I'm hoping there are a few of you that live in the city of Falls Church. I'm hoping one of you might be pondering a run for city council. If you are, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. There's a June deadline for the next election, but any time running for city council is a great way to serve your community. And the number one thing that makes Falls Church special is that everyone can make a difference. In a little city like Falls Church, educators are celebrities for a good reason. Your work is all about making a difference in the lives of students. And I could go on and on about the influence you have on young lives. It's hard to work to make a difference, and this community is grateful that you come to work every day ready to take on the challenge. So it's my honor to represent all of you. Know that you've got a friend on city council, and I really wasn't kidding when I said I hope that at least one of you will run for office someday. Another great thing about Falls Church is that we have this wonderful music program. Chuck West, Mary Jo West's husband, is here, and the jazz band is going to play one more song for us.
Guys, so today we're going to do a song by Cab Calloway, originally performed by Cab Calloway, and it's a call and response song, so we're going to have to practice beforehand. It's called Minnie the Moocher, and I'm just going to demonstrate, and then you'll sing after me. So, hotty, 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 ha. Hody, 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 ho. Heedy, 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 hee. Howdy, 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 oh. Okay, that was pretty good. See if you can do better during the song. Hey folks, here's a story about a Minnie the Moocher. She was a low down hoochie coocher. She was the roughest, toughest frail, but Minnie had a heart as big as a whale. Hi-dee-hi-dee-hi-dee-hi. Ho-dee-ho-dee-ho-dee-ho. Hee-dee-dee-dee. Ah-hi-dee-hi-dee-ho. She messed around with a bloke named Smokey. She loved him though he was cokey. He took her down to Chinatown and he showed her how to kick the gong around. Hi-dee-hi-dee-hi-dee-hi. Whoa. Hee-dee-dee-dee. Hi-dee-hi-dee-hi-dee-oh. She had a dream about the King of Sweden. He gave her things that she was needing. He gave her a home built of gold and steel, a diamond car with platinum wheels. Hi-dee-hi-dee-hi-dee-hi-dee-hi-dee-hi. Hori, 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 ho! Skoolivu, 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 livu, livu. He gave her his townhouse and his racing horses. Each meal she ate was a dozen courses. Had $1 million worth of nickels and dimes. She sat around and counted them all 1,000,000 times. Hi-dee-hi-dee-hi-dee-hi. Ho-dee-ho-dee-ho-dee-ho. Hee-dee-dee-dee. Ah-hi-dee-hi-dee-hi-dee-ho. Poor me, poor me, poor me.
No, but seriously, let's one more time because that was really good. Hello, I'm Farrell Kelly. I'm the president of the Falls Church City Education Association and a teacher at Mary Ellen Henderson. And speaking of community, Cab Calloway's daughter was actually my elementary school principal over in Arlington. So when I taught Miles in 6th grade, we actually watched a video of Minnie the Moocher and did the call and response in class. So this was weird and good. Last year when I had the opportunity to speak with you all, I mentioned that the year would be rife with possibility. With new central office staff, brand new building administrators in every building, and new buildings in the development and construction stages, we as a staff had a chance to make like a real and tremendous impact on the choices that would affect us for years to come. Choices that will define our culture as a district, our work environment, and most importantly, our students' lives. This year, those opportunities to get involved and make change are even more plentiful and rich. The high school plan is going to be finalized in just a couple of short months. When we leave here today, we'll be heading off to our respective buildings to talk about growth mindsets and the division's vision for the next few years. And in the face of this roil of change and potential, I think it can be good to dig back to the roots of why we're all here in the first place. Every now and again, I'm asked to explain why I became a teacher, and my answer has always been the same. It's that each of us has a responsibility to use our talents to give back to the community that made us, to nurture that community according to our lights in the ways that it nurtured us, to extend it and ultimately, hopefully, to improve it. Working in and for the public schools is one of the best ways I can think of to fulfill that social contract and build a better Commonwealth. Even Cab Calloway's daughter thought so. Our world here in Falls Church is packed with people who strive to build a better Commonwealth, and it's the chance to work with these people every day, with colleagues who set an example of effort and excellence that inspires, with students who surprise and delight in new ways every year, with parents who are always willing to pitch in for the good of the whole, and with businesses who contribute to the schools and local community because a vibrant and fruitful society is as important to their bottom line as any profit statement. It's the chance to work with these people, with you, every day that explains why in my 10 years of teaching here, I've never wanted to miss out on a day of school. We work in a good place, and we have the opportunity this year, working together, to make it even better. I hope you'll each work to make sure your voice is a part of that conversation, whether it's your first year in Falls Church or your 31st. Hashtag Heidi Lang. FCCEA, the Falls Church City Education Association, will be working at school board and city council meetings with administrators and in the community to give a voice to all our educators, from the lunchroom to the classroom. Your building representatives will be reaching out to you soon, and please don't hesitate to reach out to them or to me if you need anything at all. We're here for you to make us all stronger. I'm looking forward to a good year, and I want to thank you all for all the hard work you do. And now I'd like to introduce Ms. Debbie Hiscott, president of the Falls Church Education Foundation, another great organization that helps us be strong.
Thanks so much, Farrell. I am here because of teachers like Farrell, who've inspired me to, though I cannot do what you all do in the classroom every day, at least make some attempt to help you out along the way. The Falls Church Education Foundation was created solely to provide additional support to FCCPS, teachers, and staff. We exist to help you, the amazing team who focuses on our children every day. In the past 4 years alone, the foundation has awarded over $1 million to staff and students. $1 million, we hit $1 million. That's pretty exciting. And this year, FCF is proud to be awarding our 5th round of super grants. We didn't make the program for 5 years, but Mary Beth assures me next year, when the foundation's 15 years old, we'll be listed in the program for our 15 years of service to the school district as well. We awarded over $30,000 in teacher training grants this June. There are several of you in the audience here who stand up if you took a summer education trip, a little extra training. I know we have a handful of staff who did. We got some great feedback from that. Our super grant applications due in 3 weeks. You still have 3 weeks, brand new teachers alike. Everybody is welcome to submit one. We have over $70,000 to award, and we'll be doing that in October. Prize Patrol is the best day of the year for me. Please contact me with any questions you have about your grants along the way, and any ideas you have about new programs. We always welcome new ideas. We have fantastic growth mindset staff here, and we always look forward to trying to support your ideas, like we did with the hydroponic growth mindset. That was a joke. If you need to find me, we're located, the world headquarters of the foundation are located in central office, and you can find us there. And also about being connected in the community, anytime you see me around, please feel free to grab me and share your ideas with how we can continue to make this better and support you in your work. I'd also like to remind you all to register for the Run for the Schools. Everybody got a flyer as you came in this morning. Run or walk or jog or crawl or anything that you like to do on an early Sunday morning. It's September 16th. It's always a great way to start the year. Registration forms can be filled out here, dropped off with me anytime. They're also in all the school offices. They'll be going in all your kids' Friday folders in elementary school. And you can find more information on our website, fcedf.org. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Falls Church Education Foundation, I'd like to again wish you a wonderful year. And thank you for all of you do. We can't wait to see how you're going to make all systems grow this year. Thank you.
I want to just take a second again to thank first of all, the foundation for their incredible support of our work here in the system. There's not another place that I've ever been that has had a foundation that's been, one, so successful, and two, so generous with their dollars. So thank you for your work. I also want to take just a moment where's Farrell? Farrell, where did you go? Over there. Happy birthday, Farrell. I don't know if anybody else shares your birthday, but we appreciate you very much. And in case you didn't know and are new to our system, Farrell Kelly is also our reigning Teacher of the Year. So thank you, Farrell, for your incredible service. I want to take just a second to give a huge shout out to Assistant Principal at Thomas Jefferson, Rob Carey. Rob, would you stand up just for a second? Rob is, yes. You know, it's interesting when you run across these interesting talents that some of our people have. Rob is the executive producer and executive director of the video series that you've been seeing this morning, so he's the next Aaron Sorkin, I think. But we really appreciate you, and also the creative genius of our FCC TVs, Genevieve Lamas and Michael, Tim Payne, and Ian Leach. So thank you very much to you as well. This is truly my favorite day of the school year every year, and it's my favorite day, and it's sort of neck and neck, right, with the very first day of school because you have the kids coming back, but it's really my favorite day of the year because I get to see you, and I get to see you come back with your excitement and your enthusiasm for the work that's coming for the school year. And I just am energized by that, and it gives me sort of juice to be able to do the work that we do. So all summer, you know, I sit in my office and we plan a party for 2,750 kids, and it's really a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, it's kind of flat in terms of energy. So having you back and the world just sort of being right again just makes everything feel so much better. So I just want to say, first of all, welcome back to you, and thank you for your incredible energy, your enthusiasm, and what you bring to our system. I want to take just a couple of minutes, if I can get this to work, to thank some of our thinkers. As all of you know, you saw some pictures earlier of some of our folks that were out, and it was never a competition about where Mindset was going to be read, but there are a few that I want to highlight because they were pretty amazing. Jessica Hollinger was reading Mindset at Stonehenge and put the tweet up with her picture there. Angela Wicklund was at, I think that's Grand Canyon. I've been there a few times, a big deep hole, and it looks like the Grand Canyon to me. And Rachel Hamburger is at Monet's Garden in Paris, France, reading Mindset. So for those of you that were sort of off and doing some things in really unique and interesting places reading Mindset, I want to thank you for spending some time doing that. And I want to thank all of you for your incredible thinking that went into the work of reading this book this summer. And I hope that in some ways it has motivated you and given you a sense of spirit and a sense of thinking that might be slightly different than we've experienced previously. And I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. But what I've been up to, let me just share briefly, if I can get this to move ahead. There we go, whoops. We'll start with balance. I'm gonna go back. All right, John, it's not working right. There we go. Balance, what do you do for fun, Peter? Well, I go see my partner Bethany give lectures at the University of New Hampshire. So I spent some time up at University of New Hampshire watching her talk about family science and the like. I also got a chance to go to Maine. I know some other folks in the room got a chance to go to Maine. Yeah. I think I have the market cornered, though, on the most lobster rolls eaten in a 4-day period. All right, I had 6. I had 6 lobster rolls in a 4-day period, and I auditioned them from as far south as Kennebunk to as far north as Portland, and I think I found the best, and I think it was my aunt's at the end of the day. So I spent some time there visiting my aunt and uncle, and that was very helpful for me with respect to balance. Maybe not with respect to weight, but with balance for sure. I also had a chance to send my daughter, who you met last year on the slideshow, off to UVA, Wahoo Wah, for those of you in the room.
sent her back to UVA for her second year. She now is in an apartment. For those of you that are familiar with Charlottesville, she lives on JPA, which means something to those of you from Whoville. It doesn't mean much to me, except that's where I send money every month. And so that's her right in the middle, right? And then we've got Betsy on the right, who is smiling in that middle picture like crazy because she knows as soon as we drive away in this truck, she's getting Emily's room. And that was quite a trick, right, to make that work. And then my son Brylan, who you remember super cool last year in the shades, he's smiling too because now he's not under his sister's thumb for the rest of the summer. So when we think about growing, these kids are really growing, and they're my family that's growing, and it's really been fun watching them sort of in their growth as well. Speaking of growing, we had a garden, and this helped balance me a little bit this year. You'll note the number of peppers in the picture. These are green chilies. These are pasilla peppers. Those are jalaros, which are golden jalapenos. Those are shishitos, and then tomatoes. So I grew a salsa garden, essentially. And we had a lot of salsa. But really what was a lot of fun was this one here. We grew so Betsy came home from school the last day of school last year with a cup, and it was a little seedling of a cabbage that she was sent home with her teacher from. And all the kids got it, and the teacher said, go plant your cabbage and let's just kind of see what happens. Well, I don't know how many of you garden or grow cabbage, but we put our cabbage in a standalone pot that's about this big, and anyway, it completely took over the pot, and we ended up with a cabbage that was about the size of my fist. So it's this monstrous thing that grows a cabbage that's about anyway, and we named it. We named it Cabby. That's why Cabby's up there. And then we enjoyed Cabby. we ate Cabby in coleslaw, and it was a lot of fun. So anyway, that was my balance, my summer this summer, and really had a lot of fun with it. I want to kind of reflect here and be a little bit reflective with some of you that are in the room to think about last year. And I want to thank you. This is actually starting my third year in the system. You might recall I was here for the last 2 months of the school year 2 years ago. But this is really my full second year. And last year when we had a chance to meet here for convocation, I shared the story of the sequoia trees, right? Remember the sequoia trees are the huge trees in California that grow but have a really shallow root system. And the reason that they're able to stand for hundreds and hundreds of years is because these root systems grow together, and they create this base and this foundation that are really incredible. And when they grow together and knit together the way that they do, they can withstand these winds and the rains that come through California in ways that are really incredible. And I want to take you back to that just for a second to think about how we sort of moved through from that roots piece to where we're growing now. So you kind of see the theme here, moving from roots to growth. So I'm going to, John, I'll just tell you when to move it ahead because it doesn't seem to be moving right. But anyway, so one of the questions that we raise with reflection often, and I shared it with the leadership team, is what's become clear since the last time we've met? So the last time we had a chance to be together in a room like this was this time last year. And we talked about collaboration, and we talked about being better together, and we talked about all of those things that connect us as opposed to divide us, those pieces that in the end create that interweaving of those roots so that we can grow together and withstand the winds and the forces that come. So I'm going to ask you just for a minute and a half, would you turn to a partner and just welcome them back this year and talk about what has become more clear to you from last year to this year with respect to our work as a team here in hashtag FCCPS. Go ahead, just a minute and a half. It's always a bit of a risk to say hello again and welcome back, especially on the first day. And I'm going to ask you to do that again in a few minutes, so you'll get a chance to reconnect with somebody else. But I really have spent a lot of time this year sort of trying to reflect on what's become clear for me. And I don't know if what's become clear for me connects to what's become clear to you or not, but I thought I'd share them with you just briefly. And the first is that we clearly are stronger together. We have done some work in this past 365 days since the last time we were together in this room that I don't know that any one individual in this room could do. We've been able to create experiences for students, create experiences for each other, and to grow professionally in ways that only can happen when we work together. So that became really clear to me. And I think about some of those, not only classroom examples, but our operational examples and the work that's been happening at Mount Daniel Elementary, the work that's been happening at the high school, our bus drivers working together, our custodians working together. We would have never gotten to where we are without them. And we truly are stronger together. We have a black box, and you've heard me refer to that before. And sort of the black box is we have this input, right, of kids that come into us in preschool, and they walk across the stage as seniors in high school, and something magical happens in between. And so last year when we talked about the black box, about what happens in that magical experience for kids between their pre-K experience and their high school, what really happens? And is there a way to understand it better? And so for the last year or so, we've spent some time trying to lift the top off that black box and figure out what is the magic? What is the special sauce that makes the City of Falls Church Schools special? And I don't know that we'll ever really know exactly what it is, but I do know that we can begin to identify some of those things that really make us strong. And once we start to identify some of those things that make us strong and stronger together, we will be able to, in some ways, leverage those and use those experiences to help each other get better and help our students. We have really great staff. I walked into the cafeteria this morning and somebody used to say to me, you know, my heart squirts. Like my heart squirted this morning. It was weird. But I literally got so excited when I saw all of you. I guess that sounds weird, right? Anyway, you get the idea, right? I was so excited to see you when I walked in and see the smiling faces. And this year behind us, getting to know some of you in really incredible professional ways has been the highlight of my professional career. And I look forward to continuing to build those relationships with you as we move ahead. We have really great kids. We have these kids that walk through the door and are ready to learn every single day, that have these home lives that prepare them every day to walk in and be smiling and ready to go with you every single day. We have kids that are kind. We have kids that are generous. We have kids that are internationally minded, critical thinkers, problem solvers, incredible musicians who are not afraid to take a risk and stand up here and ask you to sing. I mean, come on, right? You guys, by the way, sounded great. But, I mean, we have these really incredible kids every day that come to us. We have a really strong community. We have a core group of SAO folks that really help us. We have businesses and folks in the community that you've heard about this morning that want nothing more than for us to be successful, because there is this interdependence between us as a school system and the city, that when we do better, the city does better, and when the city does better, we do better. So creating that as a community is really important to us. We're a resource-rich system. We have everything we need right now to do the work. We have people, talented people. We have time, and we have the materials necessary to help us get where we're going. We also have room to grow, right? So I think about the work of the growth mindset for me. One is that what's going on here? One is that we are not, sorry. Can you go back to the slide of the mindset piece? Because there we go. I do want to say this, and that is that when I think about the growth mindset and helping us grow as a division, I don't want anyone for a second to think that I'm coming at this work around growth as in any way other than just that, as growth, and helping us improve an already excellent system. This is not a deficit perspective that I bring to you today, but instead I think about layers of a cake, right? We have the cake. We have everything that we need to make the cake. So what we can do together is make the frosting better. So how do we grow together as a team and get better so that the frosting that we put on this, whether it's fondant icing or whether it's cream icing, whatever it is, can really help us take ourselves to that next level. And so the work of the growth mindset, in my mind, is not from a deficit perspective, but rather, what can we do to improve already excellent practices? Because every single person in this room works really, really hard on behalf of our kids every day. So our current reality in Falls Church Public Schools, and Farrell sort of alluded to it this morning, is that we have a newer team, right? I'm relatively new. You met them this morning. We have a new Chief Operating Officer. Lisa High is new in her position as Chief Academic Officer. We have a new principal at Mount Daniel, who, again, is in the running for First Year Principal of the Year. I'm pretty sure he's got a shot. We've got 3 other principals that are new in their building. We have new assistant principals, but we are a new leadership team, and we welcomed 40 new employees to our system today. So as a consequence of that, we are continuing to work on our systems that help us grow together, to figure out how do we norm around some of our work, and then as we norm, that forces us to look at things differently. And I'm excited about that. And change is scary, right? So you've got new leaders that come in, and it doesn't mean that we are going to not listen, because one of the things that we are intent to do is to listen deeply and to truly commit ourselves to supporting you as you lead your schools every single day in our system. And then we look forward to continuing to engage with you around this growth mindset. So I want to take a step back, because again, last year I shared with you as your new superintendent for the first time in this room, sort of what my pillars were. And so when I think about being a principled person, right, someone who really is going to stand up in front of you and say, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to say what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, is I am committed to, and what I'm tight about, or those things that I really am going to make sure happen, is first collaboration. And already you've heard some language up here from the folks that have spoken and from Farrell who've talked about how we work together and how we truly are better together. One of the things that I look forward to engaging in this year is furthering that collaboration and figuring out new and exciting ways for us to continue to work together so that not only do we get better as individuals and as teachers and as administrators and as paras and as bus drivers and as food service workers and as custodians and as daycare folks, by working together we're going to get better. But if we get better, all of the research suggests that when we get better, guess who else gets better? Our students come right along with us, right? And so it's important and incumbent upon us to become better at what we're doing. And we can do that through innovation, right? One of the things that I'm committed to also is that we can engage in innovative practices. One of the things you heard in the coffee talk at Northside Social was this fear of failure. And I want to try to move away from that. And I want you to know that when I think about innovation, I think about this idea or this notion of not being afraid to fail. That we are going to make mistakes, and we're going to make them, and we're going to make them together. And my hope is that when we fail, that we fail forward, that we get better at what we do, and we continue to refine the work that we do. So that will help us get better, but I also want to encourage that among our students too, and help build a culture in this community that failure doesn't mean rock bottom. It just means that we are continuing to learn and continuing to get better and refining the work that we're doing and moving forward. I believe strongly in ethical leadership. One of the things you can count on me for is being an ethical and honest leader. I am hopeful and confident, maybe more confident than hopeful, that I am transparent in the work that I do, and you will know me, and as you know me and continue to get to know me, you will know that that is who I am. And I come to you as a school-centric person. My ethical compass begins in the classroom. I want the very best teachers in our classrooms because I was a teacher too. And I know that you, teachers in the classroom, drivers on the bus, paraprofessionals, food service workers, custodial crew, make a difference with our kids every single day. So when I think about my ethical leadership, my leadership revolves around that compass and that focus around engaging with kids. Because in the end, I also believe that we need to provide equity for all of our kids. And equal doesn't always mean equitable. And I want us to think about that this year because we're talking about creating best instructional practices, best operational practices, and sometimes that means something different for someone else. And just because they're not the same doesn't mean that they're inequitable. In fact, that creates an equitable system, is when we differentiate, when we scaffold, when we look at kids differently and we say, we see you, we see your strengths, we see who you are, and now we're going to build on those. And you, over here, we see your strengths, we see who you are, and we're going to build on those as well. So that's who you're getting, again, when you get me as your leader here in the City of Falls Church, which sort of leads us to this idea of, when I talk about tight, what I care about, sort of systematically identifying, if you will, what are we going to be about? So remember last year I said I went out and I interviewed a lot of people and I talked with teachers and I talked with community and I said to everybody, you know, one of the things that I learned was that we are sort of kind of in this direction. And I said one of the things that I hoped we could do is kind of begin to focus and think about where can our energy be best utilized to have the most impact on the students that we serve. And so through that came very few goals last year. We looked at closing the gap, we looked at improving practice, we looked at operations, we looked at a lot of MTSS and the like, and that helped us focus. And so what my hope is that the placemat that we handed out today, that came to you, will help us even refine our focus further. Because I know as a teacher, when I was in the classroom, I was asked to do a million things. And I was asked to look at a million different scoreboards. I'm exaggerating, right? It's really not a million scoreboards. School boards maybe, but a million scoreboards, right? So what is the scoreboard that we're going to pay attention to? So today my hope is that we can create for you an experience that shows you the scoreboard by which we are going to hold each other accountable to. And this has been vetted. It continues to be vetted. It's a living, breathing document. But you've received it today, and it's not called a placemat for nothing. And the reason that it's kind of gotten this moniker as the placemat is, one, it's the size of a placemat, right? You could laminate it. You could put it on your table at home. You could eat off it, right? It's a little bit like IHOP. If you flip over to the back, you'll see there are games on it. We've got Seek and Find, Tic-Tac-Toe. We've got a word search. But it also suggests that everybody here has a place at the table. That everybody in this room has a placemat because you're important to our table. That we collectively are going to come together and work through this placemat. So up here you see a lot of words, and it's really complicated, perhaps, maybe a little complex. And so my hope this morning is to take just a minute and kind of break it down a little bit for you to make it more digestible. And when I think about this placemat, I think about it in sort of a layered sense, right? So the top layer is the work of the entire division. So we've got the mission statement, which is all of us collectively working towards this vision of excellence. We have the next layer down, which is the goals. That is the work of all of us, but particularly supporting in the superintendent's office. How do we do this work? And then below that is really the work of the schools. And so when I think about that mission statement first, we've spent some time trying to refine this. Because if you went out and Google searched mission statements and took ours and overlaid it on top of that mission statement, you would find that our former mission statement probably looks like about 90% of the school divisions in the country. And so we've really tried to spend some time figuring out who are we and what are we really about. And so in this mission statement, and as we unpack it, some of the things you'll see are that we truly are student-centered. And we're unique that way. I think school systems across the country can say that they're student-centered, but we're unique because we're only 2,700 kids. We truly can know each of our students and build that relationship with them in a unique and interesting way. We're innovative and we're inclusive. We have one of the largest populations of special needs students in the entire Virginia, Delaware, Pennsylvania region. And it's not by accident. People come to us because we provide unique and interesting and good services to our kids, because we are built on a foundation of equity and making sure that we are inclusive. We have a growing population of kids that are our English language learner students, and that's not by accident. People come to us because we are an inclusive community, and we're proud of that. And as a consequence of that, we aspire to be a lot of things. But one of the things we continue to aspire to be is the best international baccalaureate school division in the country. And you've heard me say we're the only school division that's pre-K-12 in the entire Commonwealth of Virginia. We're one of 7 in the United States. And so we need to continue to drive that and work together to figure out what does that mean. And so this year's work is going to be identifying what does that mean exactly. We create personalized environments for our kids so that in the end we end up with responsible, caring, and internationally minded students, which are the hallmarks and characteristics of International Baccalaureate students. This top layer, right, these are our goals. This is the work that you've been working on already. So there's nothing new to see here. It just is a little bit different in the way that it's been put together. So our first is thinking about and deploying what are those best practices, not only in instruction, in teaching, and in learning, but also in our operations. So how do we provide best practices in custodial service? How do we provide best practices in cafeteria service and management? How do we provide best practices in daycare? How do we provide best practices in custodial services? So being able to sit back and do some reflection and think about how do we get better at what we're doing is going to be one of our goals this year, because we know that when we do that, it feeds into this idea of closing the gap. We talked a lot last year about closing the gap for our students that are sort of centered on the margins. The kids that are our most vulnerable learners, or those students that we would call our special population kids. And we're talking about special ed kids, our English language learner kids, and our growing population of students that are coming to us in poverty. And then ultimately, are we doing it in an efficient and effective way? In other words, are you bogged down with paperwork and all kinds of other operational things, or are you able to teach? Are you able to drive your bus? Are you able to clean your buildings? Are we operating in a way that's efficient so that you can do the work that you've been hired to do? And that's important to us because you all have talents and you all have strengths. And the last thing in the world that we want to do is put you in a position where you can't leverage your talents and your strengths for the betterment of our system. So we are focused on that efficiency and effectiveness as well. So when we dig in further around sort of these best practices, a couple of things to pay attention to. One is we're working on an instructional framework, which Lisa High has been working on it this summer with our CTLs and some other folks. It's really coming along, but it begins to paint a picture for us inside that black box that really creates an opportunity for us to identify what are those great practices that we engage in every single day that will help us get better. So you'll see that student-centered learning environment, those best practices for teaching and learning, monitoring and assessing student learning along the way, and really working collaboratively. You'll see the multi-tiered systems of support. That used to be a standalone goal by itself. It is a best practice. It's who we are, it's what we do. We intervene on behalf of kids, not only in academics, but in their social and emotional wellness. But we also need to think about how are we extending and enriching learning for students as well, because we do have a lot of our students that come to us that are ready to learn. So how do we go deeper? And how do we innovate? And lastly, thinking about formative and summative assessment. Thinking about a balanced approach, the appropriate uses for each, creating opportunities to provide feedback, not only to our students that can then ultimately create a roadmap towards their success, but also how do we provide feedback to each other. So the next is collaboration. And my hope is that these 4 questions, these 4 critical questions can really drive the work that you do in your teams every day. And right now we're working hard with the IB team. You met Dan and Alicia and Carrie, and the 3 of them working in IB and mirroring and matching up those IB unit plans to the 4 questions of collaboration is going to be a really important part of who we are. But when we get into those team meetings and asking questions, what do we want to make sure all students know and are able to understand? How will we know if they've learned it? How are we going to intervene if they haven't? And then how will we respond if they have? Or it should be and could be the 4 critical questions that drive those team meetings that you sit in. And those are really the critical questions of professional learning communities. And I'm excited to be a part of that and to support you in working through that, because in the end, it's going to help us get to that notion of learning through collaboration, which ultimately gets to the results that we're seeking. And then the next is about a caring community and a caring climate. I don't know about you, but I really want to work in a place where people care about me. I want to work in a place where I feel valued. I want to work in a place where there are no bullies in the workplace. I want to work in a place where I feel free to take risks, where I can learn from another and not feel like it's a problem, where I can be vulnerable and I can say, help me, just like we do for our students, right? How do we create experiences for our kids that are also allowing them to be safe and secure and bully-free. So when we talk about this caring and community climate, I really want to be clear that I want to help us continue to grow and get better at being in a caring community climate with each other, both students and adults. That'll allow us to be flexible, it allows us to be inclusive, it allows us to risk take. We don't want our kids to do a lot of risk taking sometimes, I think, especially our older kids. Just kidding. We do want them to risk in their learning, but it will help us sort of foster that spirit of the growth mindset. And then the last piece of this placemat that I want to highlight as sort of a big block is if we truly are going to be the premier IB school division in the United States, ultimately we need to model and mirror those learning qualities that we ask our students to engage in. And all of these are no different than we already are engaging in, but let's call some attention to it. Let's be risk takers, right? Let's be open-minded. Let's be principled. Let's be caring. And let's build that in to our system so that we can clearly identify and share with others when we're working in those ways. Because where we're headed is this one mission, one division, right? We are not a system of schools, but rather a school system, one mission, and we're all going to grow together. So I wanted to share that placemat with you because I think that as you go home and you laminate it and you put it on your table at night and you eat off of it and you learn from it, it will help us become a better system. So with that in mind, we do aspire to become the premier IB school district. So how are we communicating about that? And I asked that in sort of a rhetorical way, and I'm going to ask for your help this year more than I asked last year, because it really ultimately ends up being about communication and how are we effective communicators about the work that we do in IB. What we know from every research study that's ever been done is that our community and our teachers listen to you. They don't listen to me. They don't listen to our principals. They don't listen to our school board. They don't listen to the city council. They listen to the teachers that are in the classrooms. So I'm going to ask you and encourage you and invite you to really help us continue to talk about the IB program in ways that are helpful to the school system. Because I think, as I hear feedback in the community, there are a lot of people that think the IB program is just the diploma program at the high school. And we know that that's not true. We know that it's around those learner profile traits, that it's around how we provide service and support to kids. It's how we develop curriculum together. It's how we unit plan together. So is it who we are or is it an additional thing? I think it's going to be a question that we've really got to sort of wrestle with and hopefully be able to communicate with. So, I'm doing it again. So let me go on to this, let me go back. Growth mindset piece, and just spend a second talking about it. And I found this graphic that I think is useful or instructive. And I want to just sort of share with you today a model of something that we've done here in the division, which I think is useful or instructive perhaps in us thinking about the work that we do here in the City of Falls Church Schools. This actually comes from Carol Dweck. And again, not a deficit model. We all have fixed mindset aspects to ourselves. We all have growth mindset aspects to ourselves. We're not labeling people. We're not saying you're a fixed mindset, you're a growth mindset. Instead, we're accepting the fact that we have some of both, but we want to grow and we want to get better. So on the right-hand side, you'll see some of the language that I hope to incorporate into some of my words this year. Finding lessons that are inspiration from others, thinking about learning from criticism, embracing challenges and not running from them, and being able to say, we can do this. Together, in collaboration, we can do this. Persisting in the face of setbacks. We're all going to have difficult situations this year that we're going to run across, and it would be easy to throw up our hands and say, I give. But I'm going to ask you to persist and know that you have someone behind you that's working on your behalf to help you persist in ways that are strong. So I want to share just a story with you about the Family Resource Center that I think in many ways provided us an opportunity to risk take this year and to have some reflective practice, but also to think about how we were growing. So the Family Resource Center, or Casa Chica de la Familia, has a mission. And their mission is making a difference in our little city so that all families thrive, or in Spanish, creando la diferencia en nuestra pequeña ciudad para que todas las familias prosperen. And that, thank you. Mil gracias. That Family Resource Center is something that just sort of happened in the last 4 months. And last year, in the LEAP program, and through our LEAP Advisory Committee, one of the things that we learned was that there were some families in our LEAP community, our English language learner community, that felt rather disconnected from the school. And so in the spring of last year, I attended a class at George Mason University, where I got a chance to guest lecture to a group of students in the family science world. And it was with a professor you might have seen up on the screen early, named Dr. Bethany Latique, who we also raise kids together, by the way. Anyway, so I went and I met with Dr. Latique's class, and I said to the class, hey, we are thinking about developing a family resource center here in the City of Falls Church. And the Family Resource Center would in many ways serve our most vulnerable communities and help us get better at what we do to meet the needs of those folks that feel somewhat disconnected with our school system. And I left that afternoon and I went home, and Dr. Latique came home in a unique mood, shall we say, and she said, you have blown my whole class for the rest of this year. And I said, why? What happened? How did I blow the class? And she said, you left and the students said, we want to do that. We don't want to do what you said we were going to do for the rest of the year. And so she came home that night and rewrote her curriculum, rewrote her syllabus. And those students from that day forward, from that day forward, did research on family resource centers, went out and gathered information about what good resource centers look like. And then they invited myself and Debbie Hiscott and Jeannie Seabridge and Lisa High, and who else was there? Erica Zabalos, who's here, who's our parent liaison, to come to George Mason and hear their pitches for the Family Resource Center here in the City of Falls Church. So they essentially adopted us, right? This class did. And so we went and we listened, and there were 4 different pitches on 2 different days. And in the end, we got a group of students who then this summer said that they would intern in the City of Falls Church and help us develop a family resource center. So the way that they are doing it is unique. And they're doing it through a CBPR method, which is a community-based participatory research process, which means that they're going to come in and they're going to help us set up the Family Resource Center. But before we set up the Resource Center, they're going to go out and they're going to interview all the families that would be coming to that Resource Center to find out, what do you need? Because oftentimes school systems, not ours, but sometimes school divisions will say, we know what you need, and here's what we're going to provide. But instead, this year, we had 8 interns this summer go out and meet with community members, and they spent a lot of time at the fields, interviewing communities that are on the margins, meeting with folks and saying, how can we as a school system help you? And in the end, they put together a presentation, and last night a number of us were at the presentation, and they shared with us what they thought a good family resource center in the City of Falls Church would look like that would actually support the families that need us the most. And some of the things we heard were quite simple, right? Some of it's really low-hanging fruit. Like, hey, can you translate more documents? Yes, we can translate more documents. We can make that happen. Can you have a family registration night for Spanish speakers? So before you register all your kids, can you do something that's with the family? These are the folks that are putting them on, so thank you. Can you do a family night for that? Can you develop sort of also some other materials like a family resource handbook that parents can have to learn how to navigate the school system? And then ultimately what they said is we really also want 2 full-time equivalents that can be in the schools, that can work with our families who are our English language learner families and other families that are on the margin. And then lastly, in addition to those 2.0, can you have some sort of standalone family resource center, whether it's at Thomas Jefferson or Mount Daniel? And the reason that those 2 were identified is that's where over 70% of our English language learners are in those two schools, right? And so it was a really great opportunity for us to be reflexive and reflective in our practice. And so part of our reflection came from this. And these are the only data I'll share with you today. Most of it, by the way, is really good, but this is important for you to see, right? And the first is these are the pass rates in English language arts for all of our students in Falls Church City. 92%. In the abstract, we do really well. You probably heard the stories on WTOP. We, along with Loudoun County, were the 2 highest performing school districts in the entire Commonwealth of Virginia. But when you peel that onion back, what do you see? You see 69% of our English language learners passed and 67% of our economically disadvantaged students passed. In mathematics, 87% of our students overall passed, 64% of our L's, and 57% of our economically disadvantaged. I want to say first, that is not a condemnation on behalf of the school system to anyone in this room. You guys come to work every single day and work like crazy on behalf of our kids. You're innovative, you're thoughtful, you're caring, you build these relationships with kids. My question is, are there some things that we can do in addition to? So think about that next layer on the cake. What else can we do that may be slightly different than what we're currently doing? So this Family Resource Center has provided us an opportunity to reflect on these data and say we need to do something different. And so some things that we learned during this process were that it's important for us to reflect, right? And reflect on our own practices. And we have to be vulnerable, right? We have to be able to see what the truth is. We have to take lessons from others and be inspired by them. I listened to stories that were translated to me that were some of the most powerful stories I've ever heard of parents who said that they were disenfranchised with our school system. On the flip side, I go to other meetings where parents say, we're the greatest school system in the world. That is true, right? We have this bimodal opportunity here where we have some that have and some that have not. So how do we bring everybody together so that we all have? And that allows us to embrace challenges, see effort as our way forward, and ultimately create ecosystemic resilience. We are a community of people that are integrated. You heard it before. Schools, school system, community, businesses, residents, students, teachers, administrators, everybody. We are interconnected in ways that force us to engage differently so that we can be resilient as an organization. And I'm excited to be part of that. And I'm excited to be part of you and to be able to work towards that. So I'm going to ask you just for 1 second to reflect on what I just said. But I want you to sort of frame it this way. There are 2 ways you could frame it. You could frame it as a positive, right? That this was a really positive thing that came out of learning from our experiences. Or you could frame it as a negative. Noonan's standing up there and he's giving us this sad story about creating this experience that is based on data that's bad. We're working really hard. I'm going to ask you to grow in your mindset, to think about how can we take some of these lessons, that sounds like my high school experience. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, how do we take some of those experiences of reflection and vulnerability from our experience, and how can those help us grow as an organization? So think about these, turn and talk. How can you take some of these reflections and help each other grow? Just 2 minutes. Go ahead and talk with each other. So the big idea here is to sort of think about our own reflective practice and to think about ways in which we can build upon our excellence. We truly are, make no mistake, an excellent system by every external metric and measure. But even as you read in the book today, those that were at the top of their game, or the book this summer, that were at the top of their game always saw that there were ways to improve. And so all I'm asking you to do this year is to think about, how can I plus up? How can I take what I already do that I know is great, and how can I get better? So this is the beginning of the conversation. You will continue these conversations in your school. We will together throughout the year. But I want you to know that as you're thinking about plussing up and sort of thinking about that extra layer on the cake, that you've got a ton of support behind you. You've got, starting with me and the school board, we are here to work on your behalf to help you get what you need to be successful with every single one of our kids. So I appreciate you turning and talking about that. I'm going to move through those quickly. So here's our work, right? This is our work for the year. It's to unpack the placemat. Let's spend some time thinking about and identifying what some of those best practices are. Let's think about the multi-tiered systems of support that Julie Macrina is here to help us with. Let's think about how do we look at assessment and evaluation that creates a roadmap for kids to be successful as opposed to closes a door. And let's put some of those practices into play. Let's identify what are the key ingredients to truly become that International Baccalaureate School Division that we talk about. You are the excellent communicators in our division. You're the ones that carry the message. So we're asking you to help us carry the message forward about the work that we do to help students become principled, reflective, caring, risk takers, etc. And then let's think about ways that we can ensure that all of our students really learn at those high levels and close those gaps that we've shared. We work hard on behalf of the kids that we serve every day, every single day. There's not one of you in this room that goes home at night that isn't exhausted. I get it. And every night, somewhere in America or across the city of Falls Church or across Fairfax, wherever you live, somewhere somebody is grading papers or cutting out die cuts for their bulletin board the next day, or. So don't think for a second that I don't recognize how hard you're working, because I know you are. Let's think about ways that we can plus up. Let's think about ways that we can do some things, maybe differently than we've done them in the past, to really help us close the gap. Because if anybody can, we can. 2,700 kids, a big room of experts, right? With all the resources we have and need to be able to do the job. We can do it. We can continue to build those relationships. But we can't do it alone, right? So I think about the trees, and we are truly better together. And now that the root system is in place, let's think about how we can grow as a team. And I put this up here, this idea of interdependence, that we have to rely on each other. So as we walk away today and we think about how are we going to do this? Well, I can't do it without you, and you can't do it without me, and we can't do it without each other. So let's do it together. And so if you think about that rock bridge, if you pull one of those rocks out, what happens? The whole thing collapses, right? So let's stick together. Let's work hard on behalf of our kids. Let's grow together. And let's be hashtag Team FCCPS. We are one division, one mission, and all systems grow. So I would like to thank you very much for listening. And I probably went over my time. It's what I do. Sorry about that. But I do appreciate you, and I do look forward to working with you this year for another year to help us continue to be great. I would like to take a second and welcome our GMHS chorus, who are going to be performing. Yeah, right? Yeah, chorus. They are going to perform for us Try Everything by Shakira, which seems like an appropriate song, Try Everything. And at the same time, I'd like to invite all 15, 20, and 25-year employees to make your way to the left-hand side of the stage, your left, my right, and to all the presenters, if you would join me on stage. So our awesome chorus, thank you very much for being here.
the ground. I always get up now to see what's next. Doo-doos don't just fly, they fall down. Get up, diggity learns without getting wrong. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end. Then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. Whoa, I won't give up. No, I won't give in till I reach the end. Then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. Oh, 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 oh. Try everything. 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 Oh, 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 oh. Look how far you've come. You filled your heart with love. Baby, you've done enough. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Don't beat yourself up. Don't need to run so fast. Sometimes we come last, but we did our best. We did our best. I won't give up. No, I won't give in till I reach the end. Then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. Whoa, I won't give up. No, I won't give in till I reach the end. Then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. Oh, 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 oh.
I had to do my wave like they did earlier, so I don't want to miss any of that. For those of you who don't know, my name is Richard Kane. I'm the Director of Food Service. Everybody enjoyed their breakfast this morning? I have the privilege of working with the most fantastic team in the country in food service and also support team. Mr. Noonan, Dr. Noonan wanted to know what the secret sauce is. The secret sauce is just simple. Here in this community, we all feel like family. Since I've been here, it's been like family. There's not one time that I haven't had somebody help us out who was not in my department. From the principals working on our lunch line, from Dr. Noonan wanted to volunteer and help us out in some way, to catering, all kinds of things. That is something that I haven't seen anywhere else that I've worked, and I've worked quite a few places. So first of all, for the new people who've come to join our family, I'd like to say welcome. And all you guys can clap. I like the clapping part. All right? You come to a very, very special place, and it truly is like family. So I have 3 employees that are getting awards today. I'd like to give a little short story about my employees. They have a very big heart. And just like anybody else on the support team, I really respect and admire people who come to our country who don't speak our language, and that's very difficult. So what I do is I try to seek to understand before being understood. So I try to connect with them in a certain way to make them feel special and part of our family. So you guys are going to help me out this morning. So one of the things I had to learn, and those of you who speak these languages, Spanish and Chinese, you can help out your neighbors if you're close to somebody. So we'll start with the easy one. We already said good morning. So the second thing I'm going to say is buenos dias. Very good. The second one took me a couple of months to learn. It's Chinese. And it's Tong Sheng Hao. There you go. So we welcome 2 nations right there. So the first person that I'm going to thank for being on my team and being here for so long is Katie Tsai. Katie was at Mount Daniel. Come on up. Come here, give me a hug. Katie Tsai has been at Mount Daniel for quite a while. She's been here 20 years. She's moved to TJ, and for those of you who are at Mount Daniel who are missing her, she decided she wanted to stay at TJ. So, not my fault, so stop asking me, please. She wanted to stay there. Katie is very special. She is very quiet for those of you who know her. I have to appreciate her quietness. When I went over to Mount Daniel to help out one day, and the little kids let me know, you are not Miss Katie. One thing that we learn about little kids, they tell the truth. So with that being said, move on to my next person. We're doing all of them, right? At one time? Yep. Okay. Tito Soto. Tito has been here for 15 years. Tito is the epitome of hospitality. He will do anything you need him to do. And he's been working over there at Mount Daniel by himself. He originally came from MEH, and I moved him to Mount Daniel, and the kids love him. Once again, I was over there taking his place one rainy morning outside doing breakfast, and they said, "Who are you? You're not Mr. Tito." I'm like, wow, I got to come over here more often and talk to these kids. And then the last but not least is Blanca Avila. Blanca is at MEH. She's at Mary Ellen Henderson. And I want to tell you a short little story about her. Blanca, the family that we are, volunteered to donate bone marrow to someone. And she went through this story and donated and didn't think, because the list was so long, that they would ever get to her name. Well, they got to her name, and she volunteered. And what you don't know, and what I didn't know, is when you give bone marrow, it's a week of shots that they have to inject you with. The shots made her very sick, all right? The people told her who was giving her, she was donated the bone marrow to, when they called and said, it is a volunteer effort, but this person will not live unless you donate, because she was a match. Now that's some heavy burden to put on somebody when they say, you won't live. Somebody won't live because of you. Well, she gave the bone marrow. The person is still living today, and she still came to work. This is how special we are. And for the new people, once again, I'd like to say welcome to the family, and we're glad that you're here.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Tim Kasich, and I'm the very proud new principal at Mount Daniel. And I'd like to say thank you for making me feel so welcome, and to the staff at Mount Daniel, hang in there. We are almost there. Truly the most resilient group of educators I've ever had the pleasure of working with. So I have the pleasure of introducing some fabulous educators who are receiving their Years of Service awards. I'm recognizing 3 people who've been at Mount Daniel for 15 years. All 3 of them started in one role and moved into their current positions. Charlene Ferguson. Congratulations. Charlene started as a paraprofessional and has worn many hats at Mount Daniel. She's been a first grade teacher for 10 years, and Charlene's classroom is always running smoothly. She values the individuality of every student and works hard to understand all their strengths and needs. Karen Bevan. So Karen started as a teacher in one of our first early preschool programs, working with students and their parents. She transitioned to kindergarten several years ago, and her classroom was full of love and caring. Karen creates a warm, family-like community that starts students on the right foot. Kim Tanner. So Kim started with us as a daycare employee and transitioned to special education paraprofessional. Kim is a kind and caring classroom helper. Teachers who work with Kim know that they can rely on her as a true partner. Thank you, Mount Daniel.
All right, thank you, Tim, and welcome to the family. Good morning, everyone. I'm Matt Hills, principal at George Mason High School. So I'm going to be up here a little while. We have 8 of our most wonderful, as you can see right here, staff members that I'd like to go ahead and say a few things about. So we're first going to start off with our 15-year employees. Miss Vicki Gallagher, our athletic trainer. Vicki has truly changed the game for our student athletes. She works with all students who are injured during athletics, manages our concussion protocol, and provides rehabilitation. Additionally, shout out to all the teachers who asked us for this, she teaches our CPR courses and makes sure that they are able to get certified. And this year, she's actually teaching a sports medicine course at George Mason, so thank you. Next up, we have Miss Suzanne Planas, or Senora Planas. Her love of Spanish is equaled by her love for the students. Every student she teaches absorbs her confidence in their ability to learn Spanish. Suzanne, this year, is our CASH project coordinator for the International Baccalaureate students. She works closely with students to help them enact complex volunteer projects like fundraisers for hurricane-struck communities and starting a chapter at George Mason for Habitat for Humanity. Suzanne was the Agnes Meyer Teacher of the Year in 2011. Next up, we have Miss Karen Tews. Karen is a consummate English teacher sharing her love of language and literature with students. Her passion for great books as well as great writing is absolutely contagious. Her positive encouragement inspires students to take risks and try new things. Karen was also named the Agnes Meyer Teacher of the Year in 2012. Next up, we have Mr. Chris Capanola. Chris is our physical education teacher and coach of the boys basketball team. His ability to establish strong and lasting relationships with his students and players is what truly makes Chris one of a kind. Chris adores all things Mason, and we are lucky to have him on our team. Next up, we have Mr. Brian Walsh. Brian has served the George Mason for 20 years. Being in Brian's class has become a legendary rite of passage for students. Brian's writing assignments always cause some head scratching at first, but then they provide a challenge for all students to ultimately become better writers. I'll share a little story. Brian loves to collect mini rubber ducks, which was actually started by one of our former Mason students who he continues to have a relationship with. He sends him these rubber ducks. If you ever walk into the classroom, make sure you bring one. They're all lined up on his back wall. So thank you, Brian, for all your service. Next up, we have Miss Martina Goss. Martina is one of our 20-year science teachers. She is a patient scientist, helping students of all levels understand the concept of biology. Her ability to share her knowledge in a passionate way with each student is ultimately very contagious, and students come back to see her all the time. Martina, thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Mark Robarge. Mark Robarge has been with FCCPS for over 20 years. He first started out as a teacher at Thomas Jefferson and now at GM. He has inspired decades of students to explore their creative slides and even to pursue careers in art. He is also an artist himself. In this past year, he actually has his community Art in the Park exhibit which debuted at the Howard Herman Stream Valley Park. So congratulations, Mark, and thank you for everything you do. All right. Thank you. Who am I missing? Oh my goodness. Mr. Paul Ferentinos, I would never forget you. All right, next up we have Mr. Paul Ferentinos, our 25-year employee. And I'll tell you, even after 25 years, he brings a fresh enthusiasm to every single class. Because of his passion and love for history, he's an extraordinary teacher, and he encourages students to learn, study, and analyze the past to make sense of the present. Thank you, Paul, for everything.
Good morning. I am Paul Swanson, and I am the principal of Thomas Jefferson, and we have 2 TJ employees that we would like to recognize this morning. We have an incredibly energetic and fun PE teacher, Mrs. Julie Huber. "15 years. 15 years. I thought about saying 50. Here's the thing about Julie, there are probably not too many people in this room who regularly have over 50 kids in your classroom, but Julie does every single day, every single period. She manages this unbelievably exquisitely. There's never a dull day in her class. We will see sportsmanship and games and creativity for every kid, every class. Along with her partner and buddy Nathan Greiner, Julie has been the mastermind of some pretty amazing field days and a leader of our Encore team. Julie Huber. And our buddy Lisa Allen, 25 years. Like Kim Tanner, she also started in the daycare program while she was getting her teaching degree. Lisa is the definition of lifelong learner. She's always ready to discover new ways to understand the 4th grade curriculum, and you cannot talk about Lisa Allen without emphasizing Virginia studies. At some point, the town of Williamsburg, Virginia is going to be renamed Allensburg. Just count on it. Count on it. Lisa is a generous collaborator, a team leader, a classroom powerhouse. She is a National Board certified teacher, and she was honored as the Falls Church Education Foundation Teacher of the Year last year. She is deeply, deeply respected in our building. We are proud and honored to call her one of our own. Lisa Allen.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Eduardo Molina, and I'm the Custodial Services Supervisor. First, I want to give thanks to my crew, the custodial crew, for all the amazing work they've done this summer and for all the work they do during the year. A mis compañeros, muchas gracias por todo lo que hacen, por todo el trabajo y todo lo que se esmera durante el año. Gracias. First, I want to call David. Where is David? There's David. Come up here, man. David is larger than life. He's the elementary head custodian at TJ, and during the summer for the last few years, he's been running my crew during the day shift, so thank you for that. He always does a great job motivating his team. As the school expanded and we're going through construction, his team has gotten bigger too, and he knows how to motivate him and get him to work and do things right. So thank you for that again. He's known for bringing into song and dance every once in a while when he sees kids, to welcome them, to put a smile on their faces, to either kids, parents, or teachers. He looks after the teachers at the classrooms as if he was taking care of his own house. He was honored as the Support Staff of the Year for 2017. So thank you for 25 years of service. Now I want to call my new boss, Kristen, La Jefa. During this past weekend, both Dr. Noonan and her, they work with us. So for my crew, they earn a new respect and admiration for working with them. She was in her hands and knees cleaning furniture, and nobody's done that ever before. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're so welcome.
We got three of my coworkers that have been working with us for 15 years. And so the first one, it's Carlos Mejia.
So Carlos has been up to the challenge of keeping Mount Daniel clean throughout this construction project. And for those of you who've been there, you know that that's no easy feat. It hasn't been an easy task with all of those trailers, the disjointed areas, but Carlos and his team do a great job every day. He's really looking forward to the new building open, and I couldn't be prouder to have him on our team. Congratulations, Carlos.
For the next 10 years, he won't have to worry about trailers, moving furniture, or boxes. The next one is Marina Moretti, and I don't see it anywhere. Marina has been with us for 15 years. She started working for food service, actually. And then after a while, he started working as a substitute custodian for us. And then she stayed with us as a regular custodian. She's kind of easy to work with. She's a role model of hard work to all of us because, well, I'm not going to give away her age, but I would like to have the energy and to be able to work as hard as she does at the age she has. So, yeah, she's just amazing, all right? So whenever you see her, give her a hug. All right. The next one is Teresa Garcia Rodriguez.
So Teresa's been at George Mason for 15 years. During those 15 years, she's had lots of different assignments, and her current one is in the science wing. Cleaning the science wing in a high school is like no other job. Science messes are special because they use so many different materials, but she works hard every single day to make sure the classrooms are ready for the next day's experiments. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Hi, I'm Amy Hall, and as Human Resources Director, I'm so glad to have Molly Narberg in my department. Come on up, Molly. Molly has been with FCCPS for 15 years, starting as a health aide at TJ. She is our Human Resources Specialist, and she takes care of all the licensure paperwork related to teachers. She is a great colleague to her central office team. Molly is an expert at working through complicated paperwork, and she knows the right person to call in Richmond when necessary. Molly is thorough, patient, persistent, and without a doubt, she has the best laugh.
Hello again, I'm Kristen Michael, the new Chief Operating Officer. I am thrilled with all of the work that my great support teams do each and every day. And today I'm here to celebrate 2 of my directors who've been here for 25 years. And many of you know them both very, very well. So first, I'd like to recognize Nancy Hedrickson for 25 years of service. Nancy knows the roads better than anyone else in Falls Church City, and she is always focused on the safety of students. As the Director of Transportation, Nancy motivates her team to provide the best service to students at the start and finish of each and every one of their days. She works closely with principals and school staff to take care of students who need special attention. Our transportation department provides remarkable customer service, and that's thanks to Nancy's leadership. Congratulations, Nancy, on 25 years of service. So my next director is Katie Clinton, who's the director of our extended daycare program. In addition to 25 years of employment, Katie is a graduate of George Mason High School. Katie actually graduated in this auditorium. Extended daycare service serves 350 students each and every day, providing them with a safe, comfortable, fun place for students both before and after school and during all of our school breaks. Katie runs a program that's in great demand, and parents value the high-quality care and the positive relationships that each student in our daycare program receives. All of this is possible because of Katie and her tremendous leadership of her staff. So congratulations, Katie, on 25 years of service. So all of these people together are our 2018 honorees, so we'd like to get them together to take a photo, and then they can return to their seats.
So, 25 years. It sounds like a long time, because it is a long time. And in that time, I'm going to keep saying we, because there's 4 others who celebrate 25 years with me. And in that time, we have been so fortunate to meet hundreds and hundreds of students, and almost the same number of staff. And it's those experiences that help shape who we are today, helps shape our leaders, helps shape educators, and for me personally, in that time, as a spouse and a parent. I'd like to share with you a quote from my mother-in-law. She is a good person, and she loves engaging conversation, and she usually makes us giggle, if not laugh out loud. You can't swing a cat in Falls Church without hitting a Clinton. While she's absolutely correct, there are a lot of Clintons in our little city. It's really true for me here today, and it's been said before, because FCCPS is my family. It's our family. We are each other's shoulder, a pat on the back. We even argue sometimes, but we usually work it out, and it makes our family stronger. While I won't be swinging any cats anytime soon, it is very reassuring to know every day when I come to work, I have the support and resources that I need to be successful. Earlier this summer, I took my daughter to her dental appointment, and it has become a tradition for us to go to Starbucks. We can call it a bribe, but let's call it a tradition for now. The closest Starbucks to us that day was the one in Fairfax that has a drive-through. And while I really do love drive-throughs, what really was the best part of that is that for my personal goal, it's been to pay for the person behind me. So that day we're in line and the car behind us would not stop honking. If there was an inch to be had in that long line, that woman was on that horn and I could not move fast enough. And my daughter acknowledged that, that's really annoying. And I agreed with her. And she asked the question, are we gonna pay for her order? And I said immediately, yes, we're gonna pay for her order because we don't know her story. We don't know if she's had a bad morning, a bad week, and maybe this act of kindness is something that's gonna help change her day. So there are 3 takeaways from this that I think are important for all of us here today as a family. The first, choose kindness. We always feel good when people are giving us kindness and when we are being kind. And let's face it, we could probably use a lot more kindness in our world right now. So choose kindness. The second, get to know each other's stories. You work with some amazing people. Listen to them. And be sure to share your story because this is going to make our family stronger. And finally, you can spend $25 at Starbucks or 25 years at FCCPS. That's a lot. It's not about the time or the money. It's that you chose to do it because you want to make a difference. So for all our new staff here today, welcome to the FCCPS family. And for all of us, have a fun and amazing year, making a difference in the life of your students and each other. Thank you.
I want to thank Katie Clinton one more time for your optimism and dedication to Falls Church City Public Schools. Thank you, Katie. So I have one final set of thank yous that we need to give today, and one is to the tech team, Dang Nguyen, Hai Lee, Eb Okai, Jamie Sample from the GMHS stage crew, Michael Timpau, Genevieve Lamas from FCC TV, and John Brett, who's up in the booth, and Mary Beth Conley for their work and support today. So thank you all very much. Before I let you go, and on your way out, a couple things. One, on your way out, please stop and pick up one of our great t-shirts that we made for you this year. Those are sponsored by the Nancy Sprague Leadership, and Nancy and Steve Sprague Teacher Leadership Fund, and they are stewarded by the Falls Church Education Foundation. We're gonna have an opportunity here to be sung out of the room by our gifted GMHS chorus, but before they go, I just want to, one more time, just say thank you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for choosing us. And thank you for being such amazing, amazing staff. My heart, you know what my heart does now when I, when I see you. And you'll never look at me the same again, I know. But I do want to just one more time say thank you for your incredible support, your incredible work. And this is going to be the best year we've ever had collectively because of you. So with that, I'll invite the chorus out.
We can change the world. will change the world. Hand in hand, try to understand. Oh, we can move the world. Side by side, my mind is open wide. Oh, we can change the world. We are many, we are mighty, we are ready, ready to begin. Sisters, brothers, fathers, mothers, stand together, we can change the world. We will rise, we will stand, we will change the world. We can do it, we can change the world. We can do it, time to change the world. We can do it, we can change the world. We can do it, time to change the world. Yes, we can do it, we can change the world. Yes, we can do it, time to change the world. Yes, we can do it, we can change the world. Yes, we can do it, time to change the world. Yes, we can do it, we can change the world. Yes, we can do it, time to change the world. We are many, we are mighty, we are ready, ready to begin. Sisters, brothers, fathers, mothers, stand together, we can change the world. We